3 years ago, I unexpectedly crossed over into a magical parallel world, only to awaken the ability to sense the exact coordinates of Earth. All the locals mocked my power, saying it was only good for dumping trash. But I turned around, and sent a whole package of magical knowledge straight to the government. While the local mages were still chanting their spells like devoted monks, I was effortlessly unleashing eternal forbidden magic, without a single incantation. Just one strike was enough to obliterate an entire otherworldly city, all because the authorities didn't just systematically analyze magic. They actually figured out how to mass-produce incantation-less mages. And right after that, the Taoists discovered that mana could actually power the ancient spells from our ancient texts. Because of this, Earth completely revived the path of ancient cultivation. So, when the Chinese government descended upon this new world with 1 million cultivators, little did these gods know, all we ever wanted in the very beginning was just a way to save ourselves. "3 years, that's more than enough time for an ordinary guy from the modern world to become completely numb to all this savagery. Lin Fan, your overnight fee is due tomorrow. If you can't pay up, you're getting thrown out of the city to feed the ghouls." 3 years ago, I crossed over into this divine realm, ending up as nothing but a bottom-tier traveling merchant. The magic in this world has completely dried up, the land is barren, and the wilderness is absolutely crawling with monsters. If I don't sell this bread soon to cover my overnight fee, getting kicked out of the city is basically a death sentence. Hey there, Void Transporter. Having trouble selling your bread? Why don't you try that little teleportation trick of yours again? Who knows, maybe you'll magically bring back the supplies you lost. Ha ha ha, I've long since gotten used to being the punchline. Last year, I awakened a merchant talent called item teleportation. I thought it was going to be my golden ticket to a good life. But everything I tried to teleport just got swallowed into the void. I ended up blowing all my savings on it, and I still couldn't figure out how it worked. And now, I can't even afford a single night's lodging. Wait, what is that? It's the goddess of wealth and war. Praise be to Lady Ishtar. Children of the divine realm, our world is dying. But do not despair, the gods have found a new hope for you all. It is a vibrant, unimaginably wealthy promised land. You need only wait 10 years. When that time comes, we shall lead you all on a great crusade, and every living creature there shall become your slaves. Crusade, crusade, watching all this unfold, I honestly didn't feel a single thing. After all, the empty promises of some god have nothing to do with a nobody like me. Wait, that's Earth. They're planning to invade my home. An overwhelming wave of pure rage instantly flared up inside me. But that rage was quickly swallowed by despair. Right now, I'm just a useless bug who can't even afford a decent meal. What right do I have to try and stop the gods? But right in that moment of intertwined anger and despair, countless faint points of light suddenly sparked deep within my mind. And those lights, they were the very items I had tried teleporting all year. I immediately focused to sense their exact locations, only to realize, every single one of them had gone to Earth. Rushing back to my rundown shack, I slammed the broken wooden door shut. Then, I sank my entire consciousness deep into my mind. Soon, the endless dots of light began flashing in my head like beacons. And they were scattered all across my home country. Soon enough, my spiritual energy locked onto one specific light. It was the most valuable thing I had ever owned. Retrieve. It worked. It actually freaking worked. But then, feeling confused, I tilted the clay pot over, only to find it completely filled with dirt. I pinched a tiny bit and brought it up to my nose, and my entire body went rigid. This wasn't the rotting, foul-smelling dirt of the divine realm. This was the scent of the earth right after it rains in my hometown. My talent hadn't been failing me at all. If it could bring back dirt from Earth, it could bring back so much more. Right then, an absolutely crazy idea began taking shape in my head. This world's land was completely dead and barren. Just a single sack of flour was enough to buy a slave here. And food. Well, compared to the endless resources back home, food was practically nothing. I might still be just an ant, but now, this ant can bite right through the walls between two worlds. On my own, there's no way I could change a damn thing. But, I have my entire country standing behind me. I can send back intel, knowledge, magic spellbooks, weapons, all of it. 10 years, that's enough time for our nation to figure out how to fight back against these gods. But before we can strike back, I need to stay alive. This clay pot will only cover my room for 5 days, tops. If I want to survive this, I have to send a call for help back to Earth. If I just blindly teleport stuff to the government, they'll probably blow it up as a hazardous anomaly. So, that leaves me with only one option. I pulled a dried stone hide boar pouch from under the bed, grabbed some gray thorn parchment and a piece of charcoal, and started writing like crazy. After double-checking every single word, I stuffed the letter into the pouch. Then, I gathered every ounce of my mental energy and blasted it toward Earth's coordinates. 3 days. I only have 3 days left. Mom, please, you have to believe me. Back home, Mom was staring blankly at my picture. Ever since I went missing 3 years ago, she's been living in an absolute haze. Over these past 3 years, she actually taught herself all sorts of cyber tracking skills. She even blew through most of our life savings hiring private eyes to scour the southwest border. But all she got back was the cold, hard label of missing person. Suddenly, she jerked upright. Right smack in the middle of the coffee table, a dark brown pouch had just appeared out of nowhere. I just wiped this table before I left this morning. How on earth? Her hands trembled as she reached out to touch it. The texture, it felt incredibly bizarre. A chill of pure terror crept up her spine, but a single, desperate thought quickly gave her courage. Gritting her teeth, Li Sholan untied the knot and opened it. Inside was a neatly folded piece of rough parchment. The moment she saw that familiar handwriting, her whole body jolted. Mom, it's me, Lin Fan. I'm not dead, I crossed over into another world. Oh my god, this is Fan's handwriting. I'm in a world full of magic and actual gods. And the gods here, they're planning to invade Earth in 10 years. I've awakened an ability to teleport objects. But I can only send 500 grams at a time, and it takes 3 whole days to recharge. What kind of crazy nonsense is my boy talking about? Did they beat the sense out of him? Or, is this a threat from kidnappers? Mom, this is our only hope. You have to fill this hide pouch with flour. Remember, the total weight absolutely cannot go over 500 grams. I'll summon it back in exactly 72 hours. Mom, you have to trust me. We're running out of time. He wants flour? She kept staring at the word flour at the end of the page. Suddenly, it was like a wire snapped into place inside her brain. Crossing worlds? Magic? Aliens invading Earth? It's all pure bullshit. This is a secret code. The kidnappers are trying to dodge the cops. They aren't asking for ransom money because they're afraid of the paper trail. And this so-called flour isn't for baking. It's that illegal white powder. They're trying to drag me down with them and turn me into an accomplice. Hello, 911? I need to report a crime. Hello. What seems to be the emergency, ma'am? I just got an extortion letter from my son. He's been missing for 3 years. The kidnappers don't want cash. They want illegal substances. A kidnapping? Ma'am, please try to stay calm. We are dispatching officers to your location right now. Hello, Ms. Lee. We're with the West District Precinct. Once they stepped inside, Mom spilled out all of her terrifying theories, pointing a shaky finger at the hide pouch on the coffee table. Officer Zhang Wei inspected it closely first, then slipped on some white gloves and picked up the evidence. He immediately noticed the bizarre texture of the pouch, its surface covered in strange, intricate patterns. When he brought it closer, an indescribable, foul stench hit his nose. These kidnappers are making their own paper just to dodge forensics? That is some serious dedication. Don't worry, Ms. Lee. We need to take this back to the station for lab analysis. We'll let you know the second we find anything. Hey, Wong, do me a favor. Run a full chemical breakdown on this thing. Can we find any clues? These criminals are coming up with more and more tricks nowadays. Old Wong skillfully extracted a small piece of the pigskin bag, then sent it into the whole genome sequencer for testing. But half an hour later, his expression went from calm to terrified. "Zhang Wei, come here for a sec." I put its scraps in for analysis, wanting to see what kind of material it is made of. But there are absolutely no matches in the database. The fiber structure of this thing doesn't match any known fibers in our database. What about that bag? Even more bizarre, we extracted its DNA first. We thought it was a pig's internal membrane, but even the DNA sequence doesn't match. If it's not a pig's, could it be human? Nope, not human either. So we compared its DNA sequence with the gene maps of every registered species on the planet. Mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, even insects and microorganisms. But there wasn't a single match. Tell me the truth. Where the hell did you get this thing? The DNA of this thing probably doesn't belong to any known creature on Blue Star. I crossed over. I'm now in a world with magic and gods. The gods of this world are planning to invade Blue Star in 10 years. This can't be real, right? Hello, Municipal Bureau Technical Investigation Detachment. This is Zhang Wei from the West District Station. I need to speak with Captain G immediately. I have a highly unusual case here. It might need to be reported to the provincial department right away. Or maybe even higher. Zhang Wei's report immediately caught the extreme attention of the higher-ups. Soon after, passing through multiple levels of reporting, this top-secret file was finally delivered to Minister Wang Chen of the Ministry of State Security. A triple helix DNA structure, crossing over to the divine realm, invading Blue Star in 10 years. The enemy this time, could they really be from another world? These seemingly insane ravings, combined with the non-Blue Star biological DNA identification report, only sent chills down his spine. Old Chen, it's me. Wang Chen, Minister Wang? Is there another huge crisis? Worse than any crisis before. I have something here that needs your personal appraisal. Use the highest precision equipment in your institute to do the most comprehensive gene sequencing and elemental composition analysis. What on earth is making even state security feel it's a headache? Biological sample that might not belong to Earth. Send me the address. I'll personally bring my team to pick it up. No need, I will personally deliver it to you. Wang Chen personally handed the briefcase to Chen Haiping. After passing through layers of security checkpoints and disinfection channels, they finally entered the P4 biosafety laboratory. Chen Haiping put on double layers of gloves and operated it himself. He used a high-precision robotic arm to extract a tiny sample from the leather bag. The sample was quickly sent into various cutting-edge instruments. The whole genome sequencer started running. The laser beam of the mass spectrometer continuously scanned over the sample. Minister Wang Chen stood outside the observation window, watching quietly. He couldn't understand the data streams, but he could understand people. As the analysis went deeper, the expressions of the top biologists in the lab went from rigorous and curious to confused. Then shocked. Finally, they stared blankly at the screen with their mouths slightly open. As if they had forgotten to breathe, Chen Haiping walked briskly to the main console. He personally pulled up the raw data, his fingers typing at lightning speed on the keyboard. Fine beads of sweat broke out on his forehead. Finally, Chen Haiping stopped what he was doing. He slowly looked up, staring through the protective glass at Wang Chen. Minister Wang, you need to come see this for yourself. Wang Chen pushed the door open and walked in, looking up at the structural diagram displayed on the giant central screen. On the screen, 3 molecular chains were coiled around each other in a way never seen before. This is its DNA model, a stable, natural, and perfect triple helix. Every living thing on Earth has a double helix, but this one has 3. What does this mean? It means that, right down to the most fundamental genetic code, it doesn't even belong to the same system as us. And what about this? Unknown elements. We've found at least 3 completely new, stable elements in the sample. None of them are on the periodic table. Hearing this, Wang Chen felt like a sledgehammer had just smashed into his brain. The contents of the letter rushed into his mind uncontrollably. A different genetic code, completely different laws of physics. Chen, put together a full report immediately and send it to me through the highest security encrypted channel. Everything that happened here today, all the data, and everyone involved, are now classified as top national secrets. Until I give the order, no one is allowed to take a single step out of this building. This is Wang Chen. Connect me to line 1 immediately. We have a national emergency. Highest priority. I repeat, highest priority. He looked out the window at the brightly lit city outside, the pedestrians on the street, the crowds pouring out of the subway, the delivery guys rushing by. Everyone was just going about their normal lives. None of them had any idea that a threat capable of destroying everything had quietly arrived. Around the giant oval mahogany conference table, the top leaders of every single department in China were present. There wasn't a trace of sleepiness on anyone's face, only the grim tension of an approaching storm. Standing next to the massive screen, academician Chen Haiping was presenting his data analysis. After briefing the high command on all the test results, Wang Chen stood up with a grim expression and walked to the front. Based on the analysis of these results, point 1. The existence of an alternate world is essentially confirmed. Point 2. That world possesses a power system known as magic. Its foundation is highly likely based on completely different laws of physics. Point 3. That world's civilization is currently in a state of decline. In 10 years, they will lock onto Earth as their sole target for invasion. Point 4. Our citizen, Lin Fan, is currently our only source of intelligence and the key to breaking this deadlock. Point 5. The time remaining until Lin Fan retrieves the supply drop is less than 12 hours. Can the two-way portal mentioned in his letter be verified immediately? This is our best chance to prove that his abilities are real, and it's our absolute only chance to establish a solid connection with Comrade Lin Fan. Meanwhile, in the Absolute Zero lab at the Dragon Academy of Sciences, the leather pouch from the alternate world had been placed inside a quartz vacuum chamber. All live feeds were being transmitted straight to the main screen in the core conference room. The only sound left in the room was the ticking of the clock on the wall. The moment the second hand finally hit the exact agreed upon time, the bag carrying their flower and their hopes suddenly vanished into thin air. Every single sensor reading dropped to 0 at the exact same instant. A collective gasp echoed through the conference room. The alternate world is real. The dimensional portal is real. Which means, the threat is also real. We cannot leave the fate of our civilization at the mercy of our enemies. Comrade Lin Fan is a lone blade thrust straight into the heart of enemy territory. He is our only eyes and our only hands. As of right now, the alternate world strategic command is officially established. We will support Comrade Lin Fan with absolutely everything we have, whatever the cost. Soon, the final decision rang out across the entire room. Minister of Defense, Wang Chen, will serve as Commander-in-Chief, mobilizing the most elite experts from across the nation. Integrating the resources of all related departments, with just one single mission. To mobilize the strength of the entire nation over the next 10 years, using that portal which opens once every 3 days. A tiny rift with a payload limit of just 500 grams, to arm their one and only vanguard in another world. I've lost track of how many days it's been since my last real meal. The burning hunger in my gut feels like an invisible hand, crushing my insides. Every passing second is like a slow drag across my frayed nerves. Right then, Captain Barton came looking for me. Lin Fan, that clay pot of yours covers 5 nights of lodging, max. Including today, you've got 2 days left. If you can't pay the fee after that. You know the rules here in Blackstone City. Hope and despair were tearing at each other like 2 rabid beasts inside my chest. But thankfully, the agonizing 72-hour countdown was finally over. I quickly focused my mind, diving deep into my consciousness. I instantly locked onto the coordinates of the pigskin bag. But, once my senses cleared, my heart completely dropped. Why did the bag's coordinates shift? Did something happen? Is Mom in danger? Or, did she just throw the bag away? I forced down my rising panic and summoned the pigskin bag back. There's something inside. I frantically tore open the top of the bag. This wasn't the stale, dirty smell of the coarse grains here in the divine realm. It was the rich, earthy scent of home. The quality of the flour was millions of times better than I could have ever imagined. Mom actually believed me. She must have gone so far out of her way, just to find the absolute best flour for me. But right as I reached in to touch the flour, My fingers brushed against something completely different. It was a piece of paper, incredibly thin and light, yet sturdy. Printed across it in bold, perfect characters was a striking line of text. Comrade Lin Fan, China believes in you. The moment I saw the word, comrade, everything clicked. Mom didn't just believe me, she actually reported this to the government. And the government chose to believe in me too, a lone survivor trapped in another world. 3 years of brutal starvation. 3 years of drowning in endless, desperate loneliness. In that moment, the floodgates broke. Every ounce of grief, bitterness, and helplessness turned into a burning heat behind my eyes. I clutched that thin slip of paper so tightly, holding onto it like it was the entire world. I wasn't just a wandering ghost anymore, because right behind me stood my entire, incredible country. Once I calmed down, I quickly planned my next move. First, I carefully packed most of the flour back into the pigskin bag, hid it in the hole under my bed, and sealed it tight with wooden boards. The remaining third, I wrapped in a clean rag and stuffed into my coat. Then, I headed straight out into the noisy streets of Blackstone City. My target? The finest bakery in the whole city, Golden Wheat. Hey, stop right there. This is Golden Wheat, a high-class establishment. It's no place for low-life trash like you. But I didn't give him the time of day. I just shoved right past him. I slowly set the wrapped bundle on the counter. Then, right in front of everyone, I unfolded the rag. The moment they saw that pure, flawlessly white flour, the entire bakery froze, like someone hit the pause button. Who the hell is causing trouble in my shop? Seeing my ragged clothes, the owner was just about to chew me out. But a split second later, his eyes locked onto the dazzling white mound on the counter. The fury on Geller's face instantly vanished. He practically sprinted to the counter, his eyes glued to the powder. Flour this white, it was absolutely unheard of. He reached out a chubby hand with extreme care, pinching a tiny bit of it like it was a priceless treasure. So fine, so smooth, so incredibly light, it felt practically weightless. Yet, Geller swallowed his wild excitement, pretending to look utterly unimpressed as he spoke. The stuff is all right, I guess, but there's barely any here. Look, I can see you're having a rough time, so I'll give you 60 copper coins for the whole batch. Hearing that offer, gasps rippled through the customers around us. 60 copper coins, that was enough to feed a family of 3 black bread for a whole week. But I just watched his little performance in total silence. Then, without a single word, I reached out and started packing the flour right back into my bag. Seeing that, Geller's heart completely dropped. Hey, wait, come on, buddy, we can talk this out. If you're not happy with the price, we can negotiate. These, for 1 silver coin? Or 100 copper coins? You've gotta be kidding me, that's robbery. 100 copper coins could buy a bottom-tier catgirl slave. Fine, pay up, or I walk. No, wait. If this flour is baked into bread and sold to the nobles, the profits would be absolutely unimaginable. Fine, here is 100 copper coins. After I counted them to make sure the amount was right, I grabbed the coin pouch and walked straight out. With this huge sum of money in my pocket, I didn't go back to my rundown shack. Instead, I headed straight for the market patrol outpost. Shortly after stepping out of the outpost, I breathed a massive sigh of relief. Because starting today, I was finally safe, at least for now, inside Blackrock City. And the next step is to sound the horn for my counterattack. I actually made this, boss. What kind of amazing stuff are you making in here? Are you selling it or what? That smell is practically stealing my soul. Gel looked at the massive, dense crowd gathered at his door. His heart started pounding like crazy. He then carried a tray of bread right to the storefront. He held one of the loaves high up in the air, fresh out of the oven. The white bread of hope, made with the absolute finest ingredients, and baked entirely by my own hands. Supplies are strictly limited. I want one. How much for a loaf? 1 white bread of hope costs 30 copper coins. 30 copper coins? That's enough to pay my rent for a whole month. Why is it so ridiculously expensive? Out of the way, everyone move, I'll take 3 of them. Keep the change. Gel scrambled to respectfully hand over 3 loaves of bread, looking at the 3 shiny silver coins in his hand, and then at the remaining 7 edible masterpieces. A wave of sheer, unadulterated ecstasy washed over him. I'm rich. My lord, the pastries you requested. Viscount Dubois sat in his gold-trimmed armchair, looking completely unimpressed as he casually picked up a piece of bread. But the moment he took a bite, his entire body instantly froze. How could something so incredibly delicious exist in this world? Is this the taste of heaven? The very next second, every ounce of his noble upbringing and dignity completely crumbled. He frantically shoved the bread into his mouth, taking massive, desperate bites. In just a matter of moments, all 3 loaves were completely wiped out. As that overwhelming rush of pure bliss slowly faded, Dubois' brain finally started working again. If I serve this bread to my guests at next month's noble banquet, everyone will absolutely be shocked and green with envy. They'll literally be begging me to sell it to them. Take me to that bakery, right now. I want to buy every single loaf they have. But my lord, they only had 10 loaves in the entire shop. Only 10? Prepare the carriage immediately. I need to see this for myself. Let's see what blind fool is running things over there. Lord Viscount, your presence honors my humble shop. My shop is truly blessed. Cut the crap. How much more of that white bread do you have? I'm buying it all. My lord, we're completely sold out of the white bread for today. Listen to me, you fat pig. Tomorrow, I don't care how you do it, but you absolutely will make more of that exact same bread. If you fail, I'll throw you outside the city walls to feed the ghouls. I'm dead. I'm so dead. Brother Lin Fan, please, you gotta save me. Viscount Dubois wants 10 more loaves of bread by tomorrow. If I don't deliver, he's gonna throw me out of the city to feed the ghouls. So what, Brother Lin Fan? Please, just sell me some more of that snow white flour. I'll pay whatever you want. I found that batch of flour by chance in the ruins outside the city. It's all gone now. It's over. I'm a dead man, though there might be a way out of this. What way? I can figure out a way to get my hands on a bit more flour. But I have a condition. Name your terms, just say it. As long as you can save my life, I'll agree to absolutely anything. From today on, I want half the profit from every single loaf of bread you make using my flour. Half? That's way too. Then forget it. Wait, I agree. This is a magical contract witnessed by the god of justice and pacts. Whoever breaks it will have their soul burned by hellfire. Words are cheap, let's sign a contract. With a flash of light, the contract was officially sealed. The next day, Geller delivered 10 loaves of bread to Viscount Dubois' mansion. After tasting it, the Viscount was absolutely thrilled. He rewarded Geller with 5 silver coins on the spot. He also announced he'd be ordering 10 loaves every single day. As for me, I suggested raising the price of the bread to the astronomical rate of 1 silver coin, and strictly limiting the sales to just 15 loaves a day. From that day on, the legendary Hope white bread completely took the city by storm. It was no longer just simple food. It had become a true status symbol, something you could use to show off in the high society of Black Rock City. After a month of initial accumulation, I had already gathered over 100 silver coins. But I wasn't really that thrilled about it, because these past few days, my teleportation talent hasn't improved even the slightest bit. It's still stuck at a strict limit of 500 grams every 3 days. I know very well that in this world, money is just a tool. If I can't level up my teleportation abilities, then no matter how much money I have, I'm still just a bug waiting to be squashed. To upgrade this talent from another world, maybe I need to tap into the power system of this world. What's this? A fireball spell. Looted it off some unlucky adventurer. 30 silver coins, not a single penny less. 30 silver coins was almost my entire week's income, but I bought it without a second thought. Got any magic crystals? 5 silver coins. Once I got back to my place, I couldn't wait to unroll the fireball scroll. But those mysterious runes just looked like absolute gibberish. I stared at it forever, only ending up dizzy and cross-eyed. After that, I tried to channel my magic through the circuits on the scroll. And the result? Absolutely nothing happened, which makes sense, I guess. If magic was really that easy to master, mages would be walking all over the streets in this world by now. But it doesn't matter if I can't learn it on my own. Standing right behind me is an entire top-tier research team back in China. After that, I ran around to a few different places and spent a fortune buying several hard-to-find books. Then I grabbed a pen and paper and started writing a letter, detailing the uses of these items and my own theories. Once the letter was done, I took it along with the fireball scroll and stuffed them all into a pigskin bag. These right here are the keys to the collision of two completely different civilizations. From this moment on, the horn of our counterattack has truly been blown. 10 teleports a month. I wonder what that more valuable stuff Lin Fan mentioned actually is. It's here, Academician Chen. Let's begin. Understood, sir? A magic scroll, and a magic crystal. Start the analysis, right now. Minister Wang, sir, this crystal is radiating some kind of unknown energy particle. Its penetration power is even stronger than gamma rays. We've tried every known shielding material, including lead plates thickened to 1200 millimeters, but nothing can completely block it. The weirdest part is, its radiation energy level is incredibly low. It causes almost zero ionizing effects on biological tissue. It's like a gentle light, but with terrifying penetration. For now, we're calling them magic particles. Stronger than gamma rays, but with no radiation damage? If we can figure out how this works, we could use it for clean energy, or even quantum communication. General Chen, our top priority right now is figuring out how to help Lin Fan. What about the test results on the scroll? The scroll is made of an unknown biological tissue. The DNA structure is confirmed to be a triple helix, again. And the pigment used for those runes is incredibly complex. We detected those unknown stable elements again. Wang Chen stared at the mysterious animal skin scroll, his mind racing to figure out their next move. Those mysterious runes, they looked like keys unlocking a whole different world. We need linguists to crack the logic of these symbols, and physicists to understand how these energies work. We also need mathematicians to build the models, and we'll even need the world's most advanced AI to help. Reactivate Underground Base 9 immediately. I want all systems fully online within 12 hours. Initiate the highest level security protocols. Get me the 3rd Department of the General Staff. Upgrade clearance to Special Class 1. We need 50 specialists drafted immediately. I'm talking paleolinguistics, semiotics, theoretical physics, quantum mechanics, materials science, fluid dynamics. Oh, and the absolute top minds in AI large language models. Dr. Lee, there are 2 agents outside asking for you. They flashed national security badges. Said it's a top secret emergency. Professor Joe, we really need your help. Chief Engineer Tien, get in the car, it's an emergency. Under the cover of darkness, military jets quietly took off from all across the country, and they all shared one single destination, an off-the-books underground facility on the outskirts of Beijing. Codename, The Spark, the absolute greatest minds in China, brought together by the powerful, iron will of the nation. An unprecedented scientific war to decode magic officially began right at this moment. The hallways were packed with researchers in lab coats. Su Qing even spotted several legendary scientists she had only ever seen on the news. There has to be some mistake. I mean, surrounded by all these national treasures. My tiny reputation is an absolute joke. You're Su Qing? Wow, you're pretty young. Hope that means your brain works fast. Hello, Professor Joe. We're short on time, so I'll skip the small talk. Your mission is to join that team right there, and decode those symbols as fast as humanly possible. This is an entirely new language. We've got its dictionary and its history books, but no grammar rules. The Fuxi supercomputer has already fully digitized the data. Now, we need you guys to completely reconstruct its grammar. Grammar model construction complete. Su Qing's cheeks burned red with excitement. But, when the full translation popped up on the big screen, everyone's cheering slowly died down. The translated text read, "The Genesis era, Titans, the beginning of the withering," and bizarre terms like magic depletion. Wait, is this some country's religious mythology? Why does this feel like a video game lore book? Don't tell me the government mobilized this massive operation just to translate some fantasy world novel? Alright, good work everyone. Now, we have an even tougher task. We need to translate this thing. The moment Su Qing saw the title, a chill ran down her spine. She thought everything before this was just a bunch of ridiculous myths. But right now, it hit her with a suffocating sense of reality. Could magic actually be real? Could other worlds be real too? We aren't just studying myths. We're studying another living, breathing world. Alright, let's get to work. As Professor Joe finished speaking, the text on the scroll was quickly translated. But it wasn't an instruction manual at all. It read more like a bunch of confusing prose poems. It came with a complete set of spellcasting syllables. The syllables could be recorded down, but nobody knew what tone to use when saying them. And that massive, complex pattern taking up most of the scroll was completely baffling. Faced with these meaningless symbolic drawings, the entire project ground to a halt for the very first time. I swear this looks familiar. As a former power grid engineer, she had a professional sixth sense for complex structural diagrams. The lines in that pattern varied in thickness, the nodes varied in size, and the whole layout looked completely random at first glance, but vaguely followed some bizarre hidden logic. Without even thinking, she took this drawing and mentally overlaid it with the ultra-high voltage power flow distribution map from her thesis. Suddenly, a crazy thought exploded in her head. What if this isn't just a drawing? What if it's a circuit diagram? These thick lines would be the main power trunks, representing low impedance. And these thin, dense lines are the branches, representing high impedance. These large nodes aren't runes at all. They're transformers and capacitors, used to step voltage up and down, and store energy. She applied power system analysis theories straight to the magical pattern, and started frantically calculating using Ohm's law and Kirchhoff's circuit laws. A few experts who were still awake were drawn over by what she was doing. Quickly, the confusion on their faces turned into pure shock. Su Qing, meanwhile, was completely in the zone, oblivious to everything around her. Her calculations got faster and faster. Finally, as she mapped out the very last node, the entire calculation formed a perfect closed loop. All the energy flows successfully converged together, hitting a stable threshold perfectly, without a single drop wasted. It works. The logic actually works. At that moment, a never-before-seen light flashed in Su Qing's eyes. I think we should call this thing a magic circuit. From the exact moment the phrase magic circuit was coined, magic was no longer just some mysterious force. It was an energy system that could be understood, analyzed, and even replicated. The magic circuit has been cracked. This means we might actually be able to cast spells right here on Earth. We've fully replicated Dr. Su Qing's calculations. The Fuxi supercomputer has also run over 1 billion simulation models. And the conclusion is certain. The core essence of this magic pattern is simply a highly efficient system for conducting, amplifying, and shaping energy. How's the research going on that crystal? Not much progress. 99% of its composition is identical to regular quartz crystal. But the remaining 1% is a completely unknown element. Its internal lattice structure is incredibly unique. It's like an unbreakable cage. We suspect that magical particles are trapped inside of it. The problem is, we can't open the cage. Does the scroll mention anything about how to use the crystal? The descriptions are extremely vague. They're mostly filled with things that sound like religious prayers. However, the scroll repeatedly mentions the importance of incantations, and includes a string of weird, meaningless phonetic sounds. We're guessing it might be some kind of acoustic resonance. Exactly, if the lattice structure is a lock, then a specific sound wave frequency is likely the key. And with that, the order was immediately given. The atmosphere in the lab became lively once again. Soon, a high-precision sound wave generator was rolled over and aimed straight at the magic crystal. The linguists converted the spell's syllables into audio waveforms. Let the testing begin. Frequency, 32 Hz. Sound pressure, 90 decibels. Still no reaction. Adjust the frequency, 33.5 Hz. Increase the sound pressure to 110 decibels. Switch the waveform. Unfortunately, this attempt ultimately ended in failure. The crystal inside the isolation chamber remained as stubborn as a rock. It completely ignored all the sound wave frequencies. Could there be a problem with our translation? Highly unlikely. The accuracy rate of the common tongue grammar model is over 97%. The syllable transcription couldn't possibly be wrong. Sound, spell, spirit. Professor Joe, did the scroll mention anything about the human's role during spellcasting? Found it. It says here that the caster must hold the sacred stone and chant the words of the gods. That's probably where the issue lies. We've been using machines to simulate it, but we completely ignored the most crucial element, the human body itself. The sound waves might only be one half of the key. The other half is the bioelectric field. Only when a human touches the crystal and chants the spell, the combination of both is what opens that cage. Prepare for the human contact experiment immediately. I'll go first. Minister, that's way too dangerous. If anything happens to me, Academician Lee will take over command. About 10 minutes later, Wang Chen walked into the isolation chamber. He took a deep breath and gently placed his palm onto the freezing crystal. Agnes, Ig Ni, Sol, Prus Ni. However, after 3 consecutive attempts, he still couldn't feel any energy flowing. Seeing this, Wang Chen decisively ordered a switch. Soon, all the top-tier national experts lined up, taking turns walking into the isolation chamber. Touching the crystal bare-handed and chanting the spell, they completely pushed all thoughts of life and death aside. All just to conquer this final step of magic. However, 2 hours later, most of the scientists had finished their attempts. And without a single exception, they all ended in failure. The truth was clearly right in front of their eyes. And it felt like there was an invisible wall blocking them. The theory was perfectly fine, and the methods were tested. So which step exactly went wrong? My name is Su Qingzu. I'm the youngest leading expert in the fields of quantum entanglement and quantum communication. A few hours ago, I was flown in from Shanghai on a private jet. When I first got here, I thought there was some major quantum engineering project that needed my help. But once I arrived, I realized I felt totally out of place. This place was packed with top experts in physics, materials, biology, and energy. Even linguistics, everyone had a clear and specific task. Except for me, I study quantum entanglement, which seemed to have absolutely nothing to do with any of their research. Later, I finally figured it out. When the higher-ups were gathering people for this, they weren't even sure what kind of specialists they'd need, so they just called in experts from every single field, just in case. And obviously, I'm the just in case that they didn't end up needing. What on earth are they doing? I have no idea. It looks like they're testing some kind of magic. Magic? Are you kidding me right now? I come from a fading family of Taoist masters. When I was a kid, my grandpa used to force me to sit cross-legged, meditate, and memorize all those chi channeling techniques. So when I grew up, I studied science like my life depended on it, all just to use rigorous science to crush those ridiculous superstitions. And yet, after all that, I'm standing right in the middle of the nation's most top-secret research base, staring at the exact same nonsense my grandpa used to do. Dr. Su Qingzu, it's your turn. Su Qingzu instinctively wanted to refuse, but looking into his unwavering eyes, she swallowed her words of refusal. Wang Chen clearly noticed her reluctance and half-hearted attitude, so he walked over and spoke in a stern voice. Dr. Su, I know you might be highly skeptical about all this, but whether you believe it or not, once you step inside, you must give it your absolute best to complete every single step. Yes, sir, I promise to get the job done. Merge your spirit with the pulse of the flame. Spirit? How am I supposed to focus my spirit? I'm a physicist, I deal with formulas and data every day. Yet, just as she was at a total loss, a long-forgotten memory surfaced from deep within her mind. Calm your heart, focus your mind, look inward, and connect outward. She tried to let go of her stubbornness, cleared her mind, and focused all her consciousness on her fingertips touching the crystal. Suddenly, a bizarre sensation tingled at her fingertips. It felt as if her consciousness had pierced right through the crystal's hard shell and connected with the ocean of energy inside. I can actually feel it. Ag knees, ig ni sol, prus ni. The very moment the last syllable faded away, she felt a faint heat at her fingertips. Su Qingzu's eyes snapped wide open. Outside the isolation glass, Wang Chen shot up from his chair. Holy crap! Hovering right above her open left palm, a cluster of bright orange flames was radiating a gentle light and heat. Dr. Su, hold it steady. Try to push the energy out. Su Qingzu's mind was a complete mess, but she instinctively thrust the flame toward the alloy target. Watching this unfold, the entire experimental hall plunged into dead silence. What in the world did I do wrong? This is a top-tier emergency draft. We are under orders to escort you to a highly classified military fortress. I've never done anything bad in my entire life. My only stain is eating a free meal at the temple and running off when I was young. They wouldn't come after me for something that minor, would they? When he was brought into the core area, the first thing he saw was his granddaughter, Su Qingzu, in the middle of a heated argument. Seeing her, Zhang Qingshan's heart sank. A terrible sense of dread washed over him. She dragged me, the ultimate symbol of feudal superstition, into this place crawling with scientists. Is she trying to use me as a bad example to sacrifice to her god of science? Taoist Master Zhang, I am Wang Chen, the chief commander here. The situation is urgent. Please take a look at this footage first. Fire manipulation? Wang Chen handed a file over to Zhang Qingshan. The very first page was a high-def photo of an animal skin scroll. This is a magic scroll we call the fireball spell. Dr. Su mastered this ability precisely through this scroll. The file didn't just contain the scroll's original text and translation, but also the magic circuit energy diagrams drawn up by the physicists. The more Zhang Qingshan read, the heavier his expression became. The Tao follows nature, different paths leading to the exact same destination. This spell and the fire manipulation techniques recorded in our Taoist texts are actually identical at their core. In our Taoist practice, we call this thing a talisman. It holds no power of its own. You could say it's simply a guiding map for casting spells. The caster uses their own spirit as a trigger, following this talisman to guide the ambient energy known as Lai, ultimately shaping it and manifesting it in the physical world. I get it now. Our world might currently be in the Dharma ending age. In ancient times, this ambient energy was incredibly rich. That's why the ancients could use these methods to summon wind and rain. But as time went on, this energy gradually dried up. Without a source, the spells became completely useless. That makes perfect sense. This theory made everything suddenly click for everyone present. It also explained why Taoist spells were connected to otherworldly magic. Zhang Qingshan looked at Su Qingzu's experiment logs and shook his head. He realized that whether it was the scroll itself, or the previous tests run by these scientists, they had all completely backed themselves into a corner. Everyone, there's something that's been bothering me, and I just have to say it. The highest forms of Taoist magic are all about the mind following the heart. Magic is born from the mind. These so-called incantations are just spoken wishes. Energy itself is totally lifeless. You can just reach out and take it. Why go through the extra hassle of asking for its permission? Isn't that completely missing the point? The only reason my granddaughter here needs to finish chanting before her spell works isn't because her words are magical. It's purely because her skills are still lacking. She can't focus her mind, so she relies on chanting to force herself into the zone. To put it bluntly, all these spells and hand signs written on your scrolls are just mental training wheels to help beginners trick their own brains. They're just crutches for toddlers learning to walk. With that said, Zhang Qingshan decided to just show them himself. He walked into the isolation chamber and looked at the magic crystal. He didn't even touch it. He simply hovered his hand in the air. Taking a deep breath, he half closed his eyes. The magic circuit diagram materialized in his mind. He focused, visualized, and guided the energy with his pure intent. Holy crap, Wang Chen stared at the melted hole blown right through the chamber's alloy wall, his heart pounding out of his chest. No chance. Thump, thump. No hand signs. Thump, thump. He didn't even make contact. This means magic, or rather, this supernatural power, can completely ditch all those tedious and unpredictable rituals. It can be simplified, it can be standardized, it could even be mass-produced. At that exact moment, an absolutely crazy idea began to take shape in Wang Chen's head. Call every single core project leader immediately. Emergency meeting in the main conference room, now. I am announcing right now, we are completely dropping all research on chants and hand gestures. Transfer all related resources immediately. Our brand new objective is to develop a standardized, scientific training system for chantless casting, designed for totally ordinary people. I don't care what methods you use, whether it's Taoist or Buddhist, or pure science, I only want one single result. I want a totally normal soldier with zero background to learn how to control fire in the shortest time humanly possible. The moment Wang Chen's orders dropped, the entire base's research direction underwent a massive, ground-up overhaul. An unprecedented battle, slamming mysticism and hard science together, had officially begun. And so, wave after wave of special experts were flown into the base on private jets. Internal martial arts grandmasters who spent years meditating on Mount Wudang, celestial heirs from Mount Longhu who mastered talismans, and enlightened high monks from deep mountain retreats who perfected deep Zen meditation. These true cultivators, who normally only existed in myths, were gathered together under the nation's banner for the very first time in history. When the heart moves, the intention moves. When intention moves, the vital energy flows. The key lies entirely in the heart. Amitabha. This humble monk believes the focus should be on perfect stillness. A mind as calm as a still lake is the only way to reflect all things in creation. No, you've got it all wrong. According to my EEG scans, it's actually the V-wave band in the frontal lobe showing synchronized enhancement. The young physicist tried to unify their theories with hard science, only to get surrounded by a bunch of old men who lectured him on ancient scriptures for 3 straight hours. Finally, under the firm guidance of Zhang Qingshan as the chief advisor, the research was forcefully dragged back on track. The base shifted back into high gear. Every single cultivator was hooked up to high-precision EEG sensors. The exact moment they entered a casting state, every active neural pulse in their cerebral cortex was recorded. This endless stream of data was fed straight into the Fuxi AI supercomputer core. The computing team's mission was to filter through this massive ocean of data to extract the absolute most core, stable brainwave model of casting intent. We found it. The key to success entirely depends on whether the caster's mind can construct a perfect, matching mental model of the magic circuit diagram. As a highly stable, 3-dimensional visualization, the more stable and crystal clear this mental image is, the closer it matches the standard model, the easier it is to cast the spell. And the more powerful it becomes. This discovery perfectly validates the theory that magic originates from the mind, right down to the science. Building on this massive breakthrough, the software engineering team immediately sprang into action. They developed a neural feedback meditation training software. All the user has to do is put on a brainwave sensor headset and start their visualization training. The system captures their brainwaves in real time, comparing them against the standard casting models in the database. The better the match, the more harmonious and soothing the audio in the headset becomes. But if you get it wrong, you get blasted with annoying static. This clever setup turns boring, abstract meditation into something you can actually feel. Trainees don't have to stress over cryptic, mystical techniques anymore. They just treat it like a video game, constantly tweaking their mental state until they find that perfect, soothing sweet spot. In that very moment, magic was completely stripped of its divine mystery. 1 week later, inside Joint Lab Number 1, a young soldier handpicked from the guard unit stepped into the isolation chamber. He had zero foundation in cultivation. He didn't even know what the word meditation meant. All he had was 24 hours of training with the assist system. It worked. In that moment, everyone completely lost their cool, hugging and cheering at the top of their lungs. Wang Chen stared at the young soldier. He kept a calm look on his face, but his tightly clenched fists gave away his overwhelming excitement. They had finally cracked the ultimate secret of magic. They reverse-engineered it, turning it into a standardized skill that could be copied and taught to anyone. From this moment on, China's hand against that unknown world just gained a massive new trump card. During the final test run, that magical crystal from the other world finally burned through its very last drop of energy. It turned into nothing but a dull, gray rock. But you know what? It didn't matter anymore, because China had totally mastered the mechanics of the fireball spell. Right before the next teleportation cycle hit, Wang Chen personally oversaw the packing of the new relief supplies. Flour, meds, high-energy ration bars. The usual essentials were all there. But sitting right smack in the middle of the crate were a few completely new items. This time, it was going to be China's very first time giving Lin Fan some real, genuinely effective backup.